With CreateStudio, making professional videos is easy, even if you've never done it before. In our intuitive drag and drop editor, you can import media, add text, images, and audio, and enhance your videos with motion graphics, text presets, and much more. Effortlessly animate any layer in just one click, using our built-in motion presets. You can also create your own custom animations with advanced options and custom easing on our full-feature timeline. Build your own character explainer videos with premium 2D and 3D characters. Simply select a character, choose an action, and animate. Adjust the size of your video to fit social, mobile, and other popular formats. Once you're ready, publish your video in your preferred resolution. Creating incredible videos has never been easier. So whether you need a promotional video, a social story, or a gorgeous character explainer, CreateStudio is the perfect tool for both entrepreneurs and creators, giving you the flexibility to simply create. So what are you waiting for? Make better videos faster today at CreateStudio.com.
In this video, you're going to learn how to create a new project. So first of all, simply click on Create New Project, give your project a name, and then you can select a resolution for your video. Now if you want a vertical video for mobile stories, simply select Stories. If you want a square video, select Facebook and Instagram, or you can select any of these other 16:9 standard ratios. You can also add a custom resolution by simply adding in your inputs in these fields here. Now you can adjust the background default color over here. Let's say we want to make it white and click on Create Project Now. Okay, so this is the editor, and on the right hand panel you'll be able to see our project settings. Now to open these settings, if they're not currently open, click on the settings icon over here, and you can go through and adjust the resolution again if you want to adjust it. Let's say you want to make it a Facebook video. You can change the project name. You can also adjust the default background color. And we've got advanced settings over here, so things like autosave. So if you want your project to autosave, simply turn it on. You can adjust the time frames that it saves upon, so let's say 2 minutes. You can adjust the default background color of the canvas, so if you want to make it lighter, this is a really helpful tool. And you can also adjust whether you want to turn on or off the guidelines on the canvas on the timeline, as well as the snapping on the timeline and on the canvas. So if I turn those on, like so, and I'll add a shape. Let's make the shape black. You have to see when I come close to the lines or other objects, you can see that the guidelines and the snapping is in place. So those are the main project settings inside CreateStudio. In this video, I'm going to run you through a quick basic outline of the timeline. So to add any media to your timeline, simply drag and drop it onto the canvas, and you'll see that it gets added directly onto your timeline. So we can then go through and zoom in and out of the timeline. Basically, wherever your time indicator is where the zoom will start going into. So you can see it zooms straight into where your time indicator is. So if you position it to the start, it will zoom in from there like that. Okay. Also over here, this is our layer. We can go through and rename this layer. So it says, call this one logo, for example. I can hide the element from the canvas. I can then go ahead and show that. I can also lock the element so that now I can't select it. And this is great when you've got a whole bunch of elements on your canvas and you just want to work with certain ones without having them moved if you already add your element in place. You can also hide your element from the timeline. And this is really helpful. Let's say, for example, you've got a whole bunch of layers. I'm just going to add a whole bunch of layers on here. So let's say you've got all these elements here and you've made your scene and you're happy with them, but you don't want to edit them anymore. So what you could do is you could either lock them all and then hide them, or you could just simply click on this icon here, like this, and select the layers that you want to hide from the timeline and click on this icon here. And you can see now that it's hidden these layers from the timeline, but it's still visible on the actual video. And this is just to help you to keep your timeline more neat and compact and organized, okay? So if you want to see those layers again, just simply click on their icon, and if you want to unhide them from your timeline, just deselect those ones, and you have to see you've got them back here again, okay? So those are the main features in terms of operating the timeline. You can also drag your media. So if you've got images, you can go ahead and drag them, as long as you like, resizing them basically like this. You can simply click on it and move it as well into the right order that you want it to appear on. And for your layers, you basically have an extra layer down here. If you drop it down, you can add animations, okay? So you can add custom animations or motion presets that you can add, for example, slide right, like this. And you can adjust the duration of your animation by simply clicking and dragging like that. So if I delete this one, right click delete, I can go through and add a different animation, let's say scale. And I could then go through and make it smaller. You'll be able to see it animates like that. So there's another video where we go through more advanced animations and really go into animations, but this is just a quick demo of that. Okay. Also, if you've got all these tracks open, I'll just unhide these ones. So often, like when you're animating elements, you can see like we've got different tracks open, and it's quite big. Okay, so what you can do is collapse all these tracks by clicking on this icon here. Just collapse everything. And especially when you're trying to reorganize or rearrange things on the timeline, it's easier to drag and drop elements like this when the layers are collapsed. If they're all open like this, it's a little bit more difficult to position things. So if you want to move things up and down, just simply collapse it and then drag it like so. Okay. And yeah, that's about it in terms of the timeline. If you want to see more advanced options and animating, then go on to the next video and we'll go through animations on timeline. In this video, you'll learn how to import media into CreateStudio. So on the left hand side, you'll see a media panel, and if you click on the plus icon, you can bring in any media into CreateStudio. So I'm just going to select everything here and click on open. And you'll be able to see that we've got an SVG. This one's a compound shape. We've got a video. You can also preview your videos up here. This one's a SVG with multiple layers. We've got image, logo, and another image. So what you can do now to customize your content is simply drag and drop it on the canvas over here. Now, because this is a compound shape, it means that I can go through and adjust the color of this SVG, and you can go through and select gradients, radial, linear, or just a simple fill color, and really customize your SVGs. And over on the right panel, you can go through and obviously add up some really nice animations like so. Okay. Also, we've got this graph over here. So this one's a SVG image with multiple layers. So if I drag and drop this one over here, you see we have the options to import it as an image. If I do that, it will just be one flat image like this, and you won't be able to adjust the colors. If I go through and grab it again and import it as elements, then it imports the 3 separate elements, and we can go through and customize the design and add animations to them separately like so. Okay, so that's how you import media into CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to work with characters inside CreateStudio. So first of all, on the left-hand side panel, you'll be able to see we've got the studio builder over here. And what I can do is go over to backgrounds. I'm just going to go grab a background first of all to start my project. So I'm going to click on this gem, just drag and drop it onto the canvas, and you'll be able to preview your background. Okay, so you can go into the background by double clicking on it, and you can see the separate elements over here. And if you want to delete something or move something to a different position, you can do that. And they all have preset motion animations on them, so you can adjust them if you want as well. You can just drop down over here and change the motion preset, or you can delete it. Okay, so that's the background. I'm just going to go back out of here. And what I'd like to do when you're creating your videos and you've got your background already set, a good thing to do is just simply lock the background, and that means that when you're adding other elements on top, you won't be able to move the background, and it's kind of nice to have it all set in place like that. So let's go and grab a character. So I'm going to grab this girl over here and just simply drag and drop it onto the canvas. You can position it as you like. You can make her bigger or smaller. It's really that simple. So I'm just going to drag her over to the start, and you can see if I just play this through right now that we've got the background animating in, and we've got her in an idle kind of position. For these animated characters, for the supreme ones over here, these ones, they basically start in an idle position and then they do the action and they go back into the idle position, meaning that you can add multiple actions and it will work in a seamless kind of loop. So let's go ahead and create some actions. So first of all, if you haven't seen the actions, what you can do is simply drop down this over here, and you have two different lines. The first one is actions, and the next one is for animations. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the actions in this demo. So simply click on the action. Once it's selected, you'll be able to see a drop down menu, and just drop it down and you can select an action for your character. So let's say we want to go with wave. Okay, and then what I can do is if I want to add another action, just simply click on add action, and let's go with dumbbells. Okay, so if I preview this, you can see we've got the wave action. It goes back to idle and then into the dumbbells and then back to idle. Okay, so that's how easy it is to go and work with your characters. If you wanted to actually go through and you know, make her way from the left hand, what you can do is simply flip her, and you can see that it makes the actions now all go from the left hand side like that. So yeah, you can play around with these kind of things. So that's just a basic overview and intro into working with characters. In the following video, I'm going to show you how to create some animations as well with the characters, like things like walking from a certain position to another, and some other helpful tips. Hi, in this video, you're going to learn how to create a walking sequence with a character inside CreateStudio. So I'm just going to go grab my character and drag and drop her onto the canvas. And what I'm going to do is select a different action. So I'll select the action, go to the drop down menu and go to walk in. Okay, so now I've got this nice walking in kind of animation, but we also want her to move while she's walking. So to do that, I'm first going to just crop this action and make it about 2 seconds long, because it's quite a long walking sequence and I want it to appear a bit faster. I'm just going to zoom in a bit closer into the timeline so you can see it a bit better. And now what I'm going to do is on the right hand panel, click on motion and go to in and slide right. Okay, and if I just drag this up a bit to make it a bit longer, I'm also going to right click and disable fade so that she appears, you know, as she's walking. And if I just preview this, you can see we've got a really nice looking action. So I'm also going to click on add action and then add a new action. Let's say wave, like that. So once she appears, she's then going to wave and say hi to everyone. And one other thing as well that you might notice is that her starting point right now is on the screen, and you may not want her to start on the screen. So what you can do is with the animation selected, slide right, click on the settings panel, and you can just simply drag this over a little bit so you can adjust the starting point of the animation. So if we just preview this again, and that's how nice that looks. Okay, what I'm also going to show you how to do is create custom animations. If you want it to make a walk off, you can do the same thing without, but let's go ahead and click on add action and go to walk out like this. And again, I'll just crop this so it's about 2 seconds long or so. I'll just zoom in a bit closer. Okay, so now she kind of turns, and at this point she starts walking. Okay, so at this point here, I'm just going to click on the plus button for animations, and I'm going to select position. Okay, so now we've basically activated the position animations, and we can adjust the start and end point of the action. Okay, so the start point is right here where she is, and I'm going to move the indicator to the end, and then I'm just going to simply drag her off. You could either go like this, or you could you know, use these ones, maybe let's say 3,000 or so. But I'll just maybe make it a bit simple, just drag her completely off like this, off the screen. Okay, so if we just go back over here, and if I just preview this, okay, so as you can see, the action was quite fast and it looked a bit abrupt. So what I want to do is just right click on this animation, go to easing, and what I'm going to do is just go with linear. Okay, so let's go with both linear, and let's just preview that. Okay, great. So now the easing is basically just making a fluid motion from start to finish. There's no like different type of animation easing, so it just looks like a simple, walking sequence like that. So that's how you can, create walking sequences inside CreateStudio. Have a go and try it out for yourself. In this video, I want to show you how to edit templates that you bring in from the template library. So this template here has 5 shapes or so in the background. It's got a hand with a phone and some different elements on here. But right now, as you can see, you can't actually select the shapes, you can't adjust them, you can't select the hand, and the reason why is because we've locked them, and the reason why you can't see it right now on the timeline is because they've been hidden. Okay, and we do this to make it more simple for you to edit them. Elements that have animations and that don't really need to be changed, we basically lock them. But if you do want to see them and change them, you can often click on this icon and you'll see the hidden layers. Okay, so currently you've got the shapes locked. So if I unlock the shapes right now and I double click on them, I can go in here and I can make changes. I can change up the colors. Let's say I want to make this one white, for example, something like that. Then I could go back out of here into the main project. You can see it's been instantly updated like that. Okay. Also for this this hand, I can go through and change the video. So if I just select the video here and click on replace, I can go and grab a different video. Let's say, for example, this one here. And if I just play this through, you can see I've got my nice video screen added in there like that. Now another thing that you can do, for example, if your video is longer than the one that was previously, or you wanted to resize and make the video longer, so what you could do is just drag out these text layers to make them the same length as that video, like so. But then I also need to go through and unlock this and make sure that this is the same length as well. And I'll go through also with the audio, I'll probably make it the same length, and I'm going to unlock the hand, make it the same length. Now with these shapes, because they're in a group, we need to go into the group, and often by default you'll see like just the layers here like this. Okay, so you can see the shapes, but you can't see the actual other elements on the timeline. So it will make it a bit hard to actually resize to see to the same length as duration as the other elements. So we've added this option to show all layers. If you left click on there, now you can see all the layers outside of your group. Okay, so you can see kind of a faded example. And what you can do is, if I just zoom in a bit closer, I can go through and resize these layers, and with the timeline snapping and the guidelines, it really makes it easy to just go and drag out all these layers and make sure that they're the same duration as the entire video. So if I go back out of this now, you have to see that the shapes have been put into the same size. And the same thing I'll do with this App Store button. I'll just go through and drag these all out. Just make sure that this is selected so that you can see all the layers outside of it. Okay. So if I go back over here, now you can see that everything's been updated and made the same duration as the video. I could go through and collapse all these like so. And again, if I wanted to hide some layers, let's say I wanted to hide the audio track, and I just simply click on this icon. Now there's only 4 tracks on the timeline, but everything's visible on the actual video. So those are just some helpful tips in terms of editing. When you bring in some different templates, you may not be able to find certain elements. So just simply click on this icon. And again, when editing things, it's often quite helpful if you just, for example, these shapes, just maybe lock them, and then they're no longer in the way. You do the same thing with the hand, and certain elements that you don't need to basically edit anymore, just lock them, and it just makes things a lot easier. Okay, so that's how to edit templates inside CreateStudio. In this video, you'll learn how to create a simple looping animation inside CreateStudio. So first of all, I'm just going to go and grab a shape. So I'm going to go grab this circle shape, make sure it's centered, and I might go and change the color. So let's give it a nice gradient style, like so. Okay, so now I've got my shape. What I want to do is basically create an animation. So I'm going to go on the timeline and drop down the animation options and click on plus, and I'm going to select scale. Okay, So I'm basically going to go through and create a looping animation, making the circle go bigger and smaller in a continual loop. So what I need to do is set the start property or the end property. So I'm going to go and change the start property and make it smaller. So I'm just going to bring it down like so, maybe to 39. And now you can see that it's added that animation. So it's gone from this point to that point, okay? I might make it a little bit smaller actually, maybe let's say 30. And what I'm going to do is adjust the easing of this animation. I'm going to select both, so it's power to both. This is going to make it a lot smoother when it transitions. So this is the first animation like that. And what I'm going to do is simply right click, duplicate reverse, and I'm going to do this as many times as I want it to loop. And it basically recreates the same animation going up and down, okay? So if I preview this through, and you see how easy and simple that looks, and it just looks really, really good, and you can quickly create these looping animations. We're going to be also adding in looping animations here, some presets, but that's how you can go through and create a really nice looking looping effect inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to animate any element with just a click using our motion presets. So right now I've just got a shape here, and if you select your element, so whether it be a text layer, an image, a shape, or a video, you can simply select your layer and click on motion. And this is where we've got our motion presets, where you can basically select animations that have already been created for you, and you can add them to your elements and quickly animate anything really, really fast. So let's say, for example, we want to create a zoom animation, and I'm going to go with elastic scale up. I just simply click on it to preview. And if I want to add it, I simply click on the checkbox and that adds the animation to the element. So it's as simple as that, just like that. You can also, select different animations. So let's say we want to go with something like a bouncing ball. So I could go to slide, and I could go to bounce slide bottom, this one here. If I apply this one to the shape, I can click and preview this, just like that. And you basically select where you want the animation to end. So let's say you want it to end at the bottom, like that. You can also adjust the animation settings. So with your animation selected, you have different types of settings. So this one, I've got it selected. I'm going to click on the settings icon here, and you have to see I've got different options. So I can either remove the fade so that it doesn't fade in. I can also adjust the starting position. So whether I want it to start off the screen, I can just bring it up. I could also choose if I want to start over, certain different sides horizontally as well. So I'm just going to start it like this and click on play. And you see we've got a really nice looking bouncing ball type animation. And you can do this with like a tennis ball or a football, different types of basketballs and things like that as well, and create really cool animations. So once you've got an animation like that, I'm just going to bring this, make it a little bit shorter, and I'm going to go select an out animation. And so it's going to bounce in like this, and then we're going to make it maybe slide, or maybe even distort. Let's go with distort like this, so it's kind of going to squish itself down like that. Okay, cool. So yeah, you can go ahead and just preview all these animations. We're also constantly adding new animations in here in different presets, so you're going to have a massive library of animations. And if you want to learn how to create custom animations, go on to the next video where I'll show you how to custom animate any property inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to create some basic custom animations inside CreateStudio. So you can basically animate anything using motion presets, and these are the most simple way of animating. So you can simply select, for example, slide right, and you just simply clicking on these presets, you can create really cool looking animations. But what we want to do is show you how to create more customized animations to your own liking. So let's go and delete this one. And what I'm going to do is basically drop down these properties. And you'll be able to see we've got this little plus icon. So if I click on that, it means I can add a custom animation. So once I've done that, then I can go through and basically choose the properties that I want to animate. So let's say I want to animate the scale. I'm just going to click on scale right there. And if I just go through and adjust the start point, we can create an animation. So at this point in the timeline, I want my shape to be this size, but I want to make it a bit like 0 basically, and to kind of scale in. So let's go to settings, and I'm going to bring it down to 0. And you'll be able to see when I play this through, now we have that animation. So we could adjust the duration, just drag it out, and you've got that animation like that. And what you can also do is click on this icon, or right click on here and click on easing. And you can go through and choose a different easing type. So we've got linear, which is just like a straight line basically. And we've got power 1. These have like an easing to the beginning and end if you select both, or just to the end if you choose out. You've got an overshoot one, an elastic one, and different types of kind of presets. So let's just choose back for this example. And if I just go and play this through, you can see how it kind of comes up, goes past the size, and then comes back down to the size that we set. So just like that. Now what we can also do is, if we want to adjust some other properties with this animation, we can right click on it, go to animation properties, or just click on the settings icon as well. And let's say we want to also animate the rotation. So I'm going to select rotation, and what I'm going to do is basically rotate it maybe 90 degrees like that. And if I play this through, you can see we've got this really nice looking rotation like that. And we can maybe do 90, minus 90 would look pretty cool too. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, like that. Now I might adjust the size, make it a little bit bigger. So I'll just bring it up and I'll center it like that. And let's preview this one more time. Okay, that's looking really good. So let's say also we want to create some other animations. We can just click on the plus icon, and maybe this time we want to adjust the position. Okay, so let's go and click on position, and what I'm going to do is come to the end where I want it to end, and I'm going to just move this maybe back off the canvas like so. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Okay, cool. So maybe with this one, it's quite an abrupt kind of start. So what I could do is just adjust this easing and go with both. So it adds easing to the in and the out of the animation. So let's just preview that now. And that looks a lot better. Maybe I'd adjust the speed to make it a little bit longer. Like that, okay? So that's just a quick overview of using custom animations. You'll be able to check out some more advanced tutorials on creating advanced animations with our custom presets. One last thing that I would show you as well is the rotation point over here. So by simply changing the rotation point, right now it's rotating but at the middle of the object, so you can see it rotates in like that. But I can also go through and, for example, select the bottom corner, and now when it rotates, you'll see it rotates from this point here, okay? So you can create some pretty cool looking animations just by changing up the rotation point. Like that. So that one you probably want to move it across a little bit more. And there we go, we've got a really nice looking animation. So yeah, have some fun trying that out. And yeah, go and watch some other tutorials showing you more advanced things if you want to learn more about creating custom animations. In this video, you'll learn how to create simple animations with SVG images. Okay, so I've just brought in an SVG image over here with 3 separate layers, and I'm going to drag and drop it onto the canvas, and I'm going to select to bring it in as elements, okay? So if I just zoom in over here, I can see my separate layers, and if you like, you can go through and rename them. So let's call this one right, this one called middle, and this one called left. Okay, so you can go through and see them over here. Now you can also go through and click on your SVG shape and click on this color over here, and you can adjust the colors as you like. You can add gradients to them as well if you want to make it like so. So let's go and bring that up like that. So now that I've created my design, I'll just drag these into the middle, and I'm going to create some animations for these. Now you could just go through and select a motion preset, let's say for example scale up like that, and you've got an animation, and you could adjust the rotation point. So right now it's animating from the middle. If I brought it down like this and and I selected the bottom, you'll be able to see that it grows up like so. Okay, so you can use these custom presets which speed things up a lot. You could also go through and use something like a distort, like this one for example. They look pretty cool like this, and probably adjusting the duration to make it a bit faster would look really nice. And you could apply the same animation to each of these layers. So let's go and grab this one. I think it was this one, or this one here, and I'll select this one and bring it up. Okay, so if I just go through and drag these over like so. Okay, and you probably want to go through and maybe offset the start point a little bit, like this. You could play around with that, and again you probably want to adjust the rotation point for these, each of the same elements, so that they do something like that. Okay, so that's a way you can use motion presets to animate your SVGs. I'm just going to bring these up into the right order that I want to bring them into, and I'm going to zoom in a bit closer. And now what I can do is basically use custom animations to animate them a little bit differently. So if I click on the plus icon, I'm going to animate the scale for this one. I'm going to drag this across over here, and what I'm going to do is set the start scale. So what I'm going to do is go to settings, I'm going to click on the lock icon to open it, and I'm going to adjust this this size over here. So I could either just drag like this down, or I could use the Y and just drag this down as well like that. So it starts at 0, and now it's going to end at the point over here like that. Okay, so the same thing would apply for this one. I'm just going to select it, I'm going to go click on the add animation, I'm going to select scale, just bring this over like so, and I might just go drag this down like that, and you'll be able to see I've got that animation, and then I'll do the same thing over here. Now what I could do is just create one animation and duplicate the 3 layers. That would have been a lot faster, but let me just bring the scale and do this separately as well. So just bring this down, and now you're about to see we've got a really nice looking animation. Now another thing you can do is adjust the easing with custom animation. So you can either right click and click on easing to bring up the easing panel, or you could select the animation and click on the easing icon over here, and this is where you can see the type of easing that you want to use. So you can preview different easings, and these will just make your animation look a little bit different. So if this one, like this one for example, will make it overshoot. So if I just add that same animation to each of the layers, let's go with back, and this one again easing, and I'll select back. So if we play this through, you can see it goes up and then comes down a bit. So again, you can play around with these easings. We've got some really fun ones like elastic, and we plan to add a lot of other extra ones that you can use as well. So yeah, that's how you can go through and create some really cool looking animations using SVG shapes inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to create a really nice looking progress bar for your videos, and these are really popular for social media videos and video ads. So what we're going to do is first of all just delete that progress bar, and we'll go ahead and create it all from scratch. So I'm going to go over here and click on the shape layer and click on rectangle, and basically you want to create the shape that kind of same width of the video. So you can do that by simply click on fit to canvas and then just dragging it down like this, and then you could just use this icon to put it right to the bottom. If I just scroll in here a bit and kind of see it a bit closer, so you can see we've got our progress bar design, and we could also go through and change the color. So let's say we want to make it a nice gradient, so I'm going to go and make it a blue and a green, and you can do this obviously to your own kind of preference, however you like it. Maybe something like that, it's a bit better. Cool. So now that I've got the design, I'm going to just double click on here and type in progress bar, just so it's nice and neat, and I'm going to select the progress bar, and I need to go ahead and choose where I want the bar to animate from. So we want it to start from here and go all the way to the end. So I'm going to click on the rotation point and click on left over here, left center. And now the bar will animate from here to here. So let's drop down the animation options and click on the plus icon to add a custom animation. And I'm going to click on the scale property. Okay, so we basically want to animate the scale. So all we need to do is have the element selected, and then go to scale and click on the lock icon, and then just bring the X scale down to 0. Okay, so now I'll show you what this looks like. Cool, so we've got the animation now. So what we're going to do is basically adjust the duration and the easing. So if I right click on this animation and go to easing, and we want to make sure that it's linked to both and linear, so that it just goes in one fluid motion. So there's no like fast burst and then it goes slow and fast, but we want it to just go one separate speed. Okay, so linear does that, and you want to make it on both in the in animation and the out animation. And then all you need to do is basically just drag this out to the duration of your video. And if I just go ahead and preview from the start, you can see that we've got a really nice timeline progress bar that goes the exact time of the video, just like so. So yeah, if your video was longer, what you could do is, or if it's even shorter, for example, just make it a little bit shorter, you could just go ahead and resize that progress bar and also the animation. And you probably want to go ahead and just zoom in a bit closer, make sure you got the exact time, and just make sure that that's right, like so. And then if you play that through, you'll be able to see that it ends at the exact same time as your video, like so. Okay, and you probably, if your video was shorter, you would want to make sure that you resize your other elements as well, so that everything ends at the same point. Okay, like this. So that's just a quick way to do it. You can also create some extra kind of fun animations. This is just a little extra tip that you could do. So along with the progress bar, maybe you could have your own logo, or if you want, you could go and grab an emoji. So I'm going to go grab an emoji here, and let's say we'll get this cool dude guy, and I'll just bring him down here, scale him down, and place him, maybe place him about here also. And I'm just going to bring him out as well to the same length of the video. I'm going to go through and drop it down and click at add custom animation, and this time I'm going to create a position animation. Okay, so I've selected the position, and the starting point is at 0, and the position of the character is at 0. And now I want to go to the end of the animation and just basically bring him across to the end. So let's say 1100, or maybe even less. Yeah, maybe I'll bring him over like this, like so. Okay, and then I want to go through, make sure that the easing is both and linear, and just again just drag it out, make sure that it's at the exact same time as well as that. And if we play this through, you can see you've got a nice looking little emoji going at the same time. Maybe I'll make him a little bit like smaller, maybe, and yeah, like something like that, for example. It's a little bit cheeky and it kind of catches people's attention, but let's just play this through. Cool. Actually, I need to, because he ends at, we made him end it a little bit further along. It's a little bit offset, so that we want to make him finish the same point as the line. So let's just put him about here, and bring this line up as well. Put him about there. Looks good. And let's just play that through one more time. It looks pretty cool. So you can do that with your logo, or like a fire icon, or an image, whatever you wanted to do. You could, just basically add an image down there. Even if you had a little short video clip, you could probably do something like that as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have fun yourself making progress bars inside CreateStudio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to work with groups and layers outside of groups, so that you can basically match up your audio and other elements outside of your group. So let's just preview this quick video, and it'll give you a better understanding on how and where you can use this feature. Cool, so as you can see, we've got really nice kind of Stomp style music, and the text and the elements and the images and things like that are all basically in sync with the beat. So what we've done is basically enabled a feature where you can create groups of elements. So instead of having a million elements on your timeline and it really being really full and where you can't actually see everything, you can basically group elements into scenes, and you can rename them as scenes, for example, or group, or whatever you want to do there. And if we just go into this group here, you can see I've got my layers that are inside this group, okay, over here. But what I want to do is basically match up my layers with the audio track. And if I go back out of here, you can see I've got my audio track here, but the layers, I can't actually see them because it's not inside that group. So what you can do is basically go into your group, and then you'll see this option over here where it says show all layers. So if I just turn that on, I can now go ahead and actually see the audio waveform for the entire video. Now this is really powerful because you can just zoom in like so, and you can basically match up certain things with your beat. Okay, so if I go back over here, let's go back out of this one and go into another group where we've got text, so can make it a little bit more obvious. Okay, here, so we've got, this one's got some nice text coming through, and you want to make sure that it's in the same beat of here. So I can just go into this group, and you can see that the show all layers is turned on. So now I can see these layers inside my group. I've got 4 layers, and these are basically 4 text layers. So you can see now, if I just zoom in a bit closer, I can basically match up this layer to make sure it's exactly in the same time with this beat. Okay, so if it's about here, you can see it starts. The next beat was about here, so you can see I've aligned this one up. And this one as well was, the main beat was about there, but let's say I want to make it so that it adds about there. I can just go ahead and select this layer and then just simply drag it so that it starts at the same time as that beat. Okay? And if I just zoom out of here, if I just go back out of here and just preview that, so you can see how quick and easy that is to really, make sure that everything's simple on your timeline, and you can actually match up your audio, even if you've got a voiceover narration and you're saying certain things, you can create groups and then just basically click on show all layers, and you can see the audio track, and you can align your text with your voiceover inside your group. Okay, so it's just a quick video showing you a quick tip on how you can really use groups or scenes to basically match up your text, your images, your animations with your overall audio track or voiceover narration. Hey guys, we've got a really exciting new update inside CreateStudio, and that's our text-to-speech creator. So once you update to the latest version, which is 1.1, you'll be able to see on the media panel this icon here, text-to-speech. So simply click on that and you'll see it pop up, and here you basically just add your text. So say, hey, welcome to CreateStudio, like so. And then you can select an accent and also a voice. So let's say, we just select Dave, for example. You can adjust the speed and the pitch and click on generate. And then simply click on preview. And you've got your text-to-speech voiceover. And when you want to add it to your media library, simply click on this button here. And this will add it to your media library. So if I bring this up again, what I'm going to do now is just type in a French text that I got from Google Translate. And what you can actually do is select a different language. So we've got English, obviously American, British, Australian. We've also got Spanish, German, French, and other languages down here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select French for this one, because I've got it in French. And then I can go through and click on generate and click preview.
Bonjour, bienvenue dans CreateStudio. Profitez de notre nouveau créateur de synthèse vocale.
Great. So as you can see, we've got a really nice French speaking accent, and we've got different ones down here as well. So let's say I want to go with, let's say with Jacques, so I can get a male French voice.
Bonjour, bienvenue dans CreateStudio. Profitez de notre nouveau créateur de synthèse vocale.
And this is really powerful, especially if you want to start marketing into other languages. You can basically, create the same video that you have and just use these text-to-speech languages, and you can start to market to a global audience, especially when you're doing different ads targeting different nations. You can have specific landing pages, and you can basically use these text-to-speech voiceovers to communicate to people in different languages. So I hope you enjoy this. Again, once you add your script, just simply click on import to media library or add it into your media library. So if I bring this one over here. And to see this update, what you'll need to do is basically close the app and then open the app again, and after about 5 minutes or so, it will basically download the latest version, and when you go back into the welcome screen, you'll see a pop-up saying, download is ready, and click to restart, and it will basically restart it, and you'll see this option to it with the text-to-speech. So if I just grab this text-to-speech, drag it onto the timeline, I can go through and click on this drop-down to see the actual waveform as well. And if I click on play,
Bonjour, bienvenue dans CreateStudio. Profitez de notre nouveau créateur de synthèse vocale.
you can see I've got a really nice looking text-to-speech voiceover. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you like it, make sure to add a like on this video and add a comment below, and we look forward to making more amazing features inside CreateStudio. Hi and welcome to this video mini series on how to create a Stomp teaser video. In this series, you're going to learn how to create this video. Cool. So as you can see, it's a really fresh style video, and these are great for promotional videos, for teaser videos, if you're launching a new product or a service, and also as video ads. Okay, so they look really good because the text matches with the beat, and in a fast way you can communicate a really good message about your product or your service. And with the color gradients, it looks really, really fresh and clean and modern, so it really does visually capture people's attention. So what we're going to do in this first video is break down the 3 steps that we go through to make this video, and then we're going to have 2 to 3 4-minute videos for each of these steps, and you can follow along with me and create the same video as we just showed you. So step 1 is to find a good audio track, and the best tracks for these style videos are stomp or rock tracks because they have a really distinct beat, and it makes it easy for you to match up your text and your images with the beat. And a great place to start is with a slower audio track. With a slower beat, it means that you don't have to have so much text happening at a fast rate, but you can basically learn this technique, how it works, using a slower beat, and then when you get better, you can use faster beats to match up your audio and your text. Step 2 is to write up a simple script. You could open up a Word doc or a paper doc and just write down your message that you want to communicate in your video, and then you can copy that text and paste it into the software and your text placeholders. Or you could just do like what I do, is just wing it as you're going, just basically make up your message as you go, and that's fine as well. And the third step is to basically find some good color gradients. You can also wing this. If you're good with design, you can just play around with the colors inside the software, or you can click on the link underneath this video and you'll be sent to this link where basically you have all these really nice gradient colors, as you can see, and all you need to do is copy these codes and paste it into the software, and yeah, have really nice looking gradients that you can use in your videos. So check it out and then go on to the next video, and then we're going to start creating this Stomp style teaser video inside CreateStudio. In this video, we're going to get started creating our first section of the Stomp teaser video. Cool. So we're just going to do that intro. Hi, hello, welcome to CreateStudio, and we're going to add that logo like that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is download the audio track underneath this video, and then you want to import it into CreateStudio by clicking on the plus import media button and bringing it into CreateStudio. Okay, so once you've done that, simply drag it onto your canvas and it'll add it to your timeline, and you can actually go through and drop down the waveform by clicking on the arrow over here, and that will show you the audio waveform so that we can match and sync up the text and our media with our actual beats. Okay, cool. So the next thing we want to do is go through and add a text layer. So I'm going to click on text over here, and the text font that I'm using is Poppins, but you can use whatever text font you like. And I'm going to go through and change the text to hello, and I'll just make it a little bit bigger, something like that, and make sure that it's centered. And I'm going to click on this color icon here. You could also click over here and then select linear gradient. Okay, and this is where we can add 2 color gradients to the text. So I'm going to use something like a purple type color, and also maybe a blue, kind of greeny blue like that. And that's looking really good, like so. Okay, and what I want to do also is change the background color and make it white. So to do that, you just simply click on the settings icon, and you'll see the settings panel over here, and click on the background and make it white like that, okay? So now we've got our first text. We can basically go through and sync it up with the audio beat. So I'm just going to drag this zoom button over here. I'm going to go through and click and drag at the end of this track and just basically zoom back in and see the audio beat. Now I just want to make sure that this beat and the text ends at the start of the second beat, and it also starts at the kind of where it pops in the beginning of the first beat. So I'm just going to drag that out so that it starts not on screen, then it hits the beat and the text pops like so, and then it comes off, okay? So I've got my first text. I'm just going to simply select that and use Command D on my keyboard. If you've got a Windows computer, you can use Control D to duplicate it. I'm just going to drag it over like so that it goes from hello, and then I'm going to change this to we, okay? And you can go through and adjust the colors, and you can really use any color you like. Whatever looks good to you, you can change it up. I might make this a little bit more green, or like kind of teal blue, I guess, like so. So it goes hello, and then it goes, the second beat pops here, and there's actually a little beat over here as well. So this will be a quick transition. And what we want it to do is basically start in the middle like this, and then we want it to slide across, and then when the second or the third beat hits, the text should appear over here, okay? So I'm just going to go through and create a position animation by dropping this down and clicking on the plus icon and clicking on position, okay? So now that I've added this animation here, I need to go through and animate it. So at the start position, we've got it in the middle of the screen. I'm going to just kind of drag this out a little bit like so, and I want it to end at about this point when the next text comes on. So I'm just going to move this over, and at this point I want this text to move across. So I'm just going to use the arrows on my keyboard and just kind of bring it across like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this text again. I'm just going to delete that animation on this second one, and I'm just going to drag this one out so that this one basically comes on with that third beat. So I'm just going to type in R, okay, like this. And this is looking pretty good. I might move this across a little bit like so. So it goes from the first beat hits, and it goes hello, and then it goes across, we, and it slides as it's coming in. It starts in the middle and slides across, and then the next one just pops like that. Okay, so let's just preview that in real time. Cool. So you can see how fast it is. Maybe you could even make that animation a little bit delayed or a little bit longer. So it goes like this. So it's as the next text coming on, it's still sliding a little bit. You could do something like that, so it's not as fast. Okay, cool. So we've got hello we are, and then the next thing that happens on this video is it goes from hello we are, and then it slides across CreateStudio and then the logo. Okay, so let's just add that. So what I'm going to do is just collapse all these and bring the audio track up the top. I'm just going to rename this one, call this audio like this. And it's best to have your audio track at the top so you can really see the text as you add new layers and basically match them up, okay? So what I'm going to do now is add a background. So I'm going to click on the shape tool, and I'll just remove that and just add this rectangle. And what I'm going to do is basically change the color and make a red type orange gradient. So let's go and grab the red, and let's grab this orange color like so. And with this shape selected, I'm going to click on the expand button to make it full width like that. And yeah, I can go through and actually just drag this down like so that it's underneath, and just call this one background, for example, BG for background. So it goes from white, and then we have some text. I'm just going to add some text over here. So let's say CreateStudio, and let's just make that a bit bigger and centered. Yeah, maybe something like that. It looks quite good. And for this one, we're going to just add a motion preset. So I'm going to go to motion, and I'm going to go to slide in right. Okay. And so I'm just going to make it about the duration of that beat. So it kind of goes across like this. But what I'm going to do is just right click on this and go to disable fade. And I'm going to click on the animation settings and make it start kind of on the screen already. So it's on, but it's moving towards the middle like this, okay? And that's looking good. So just make sure it's centered. Yep, and then what I'm going to do is basically drag this out, so that when the next beat comes on, we're going to show the logo, and the text is going to disappear, and we'll add that logo. So you could just go and import your logo here. I'm just going to go use the CreateStudio shape that's already in here, and just add that like so, and just center it. And then what I'm going to do is just drag it out again so that it ends at the start of this beat, and just drag this across so that also the background changes as well when that text changes. So let's just preview what we've done so far. Cool. So you can see how simple that is. I mean, when you're first trying this out, it may seem a little bit complicated, but it's best to start with a slower beat if you can, and just have a go at working with lining up the text. Without doing the animations, you can go through and just line up the text with the beats. If you want to be a bit more advanced, you can obviously add those animations that I showed you before with this slide like this, and that just adds some more kind of dynamic variety to your videos. So go ahead and try that out, and then jump onto the next video, and we'll continue creating this video inside CreateStudio. In this video, we're going to continue creating the Stomp teaser video, and right now we're up to this section here. Cool, so let's go ahead and continue creating this video. What I'm going to do is simply drop down that audio track over here to see the waveform. And you can see, right, this is what we've created so far if I just play back from the start. Cool. So basically what we want to do now is add some text again. So I'm going to go to text over here and click on the color, and I'm going to select the gradient and make it a blue and maybe a pink or something like that. Something like this looks quite good. I might actually go through and actually change the text font and make it a bit bolder, so I might go with something like semi-bold, and I'll center that like so. Okay, so I'm just going to type in we, and I'm just going to again continue doing the same kind of technique where you match up your text with the beat. If I just zoom in a bit closer here, you can see that this beat ends here, and so I'm trying to make this come across a bit longer. Okay, and I'll just move this across so that we got this nice transition here, and I'll just make it a little bit bigger and center it again. Okay, so it goes we, and then this one has two little beats, so you've got this one here and this one here. So let's just go through and duplicate this text by using Command D, or if you're on a Windows, use Control D to duplicate it. And again, what I'm gonna do is basically change this to make like this. And I might go through again and just change that color. So I might make this one a greeny color like this, for example. Maybe this one a little bit bluer. Okay, and what I'm going to do with this one is we're going to go from we make, and because this is quite a quick beat and the text is not on too long, I'm just going to duplicate this like I did in the other video, basically the main video. And I'm just going to use the same word, but what I'm going to do is make it bigger, okay, so to kind of stand out a bit more, so that it goes from the short beat and it pops like this. Okay, so if we just preview this, you can see it's got that really nice transition, because if this was only on for like, I don't know, maybe 10 frames for example, you might miss what it actually says, but you really need to go ahead with the beat. So the good thing is you can just have the same word to really emphasize that word, and create that cool kind of pop. And then what we want to do is again duplicate this, and we're going to use the word videos. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this out and just type in videos. Let's make it a little bit smaller maybe, and again center that. And what we want to do with this text is basically make it white. So I'm just going to go to the solid color, make it white, and I'm going to go through and add a background. So if I just add on the shape tool, click on the shape tool, go to rectangle, and I'm just going to make this kind of full width. And I'm going to use a gradient for this one. I'm going to use a blue color, and also maybe like kind of a purple pink color like so, and that looks quite nice. And yeah, you can go through and kind of play around with it and see what colors look best for you. Yeah, so something like that looks quite nice. So what I'm going to do is just zoom out again, A good thing to do is to actually rename your layers. So instead of having rectangle, I could say like background purple, for example. You could call it a purple. And basically we want to go through and just resize it. And I'll drag this up like so. And yeah, that's looking quite good. So let's just preview what we've done so far. Cool. So the other text as well, I probably want to make this like a semi-bold as well so that it fits in with this other text font weight. So we make videos like that. And then what we want to do is add that video clapper, okay? You could have an icon if you've got any other icon. Just to follow along with this same style, we can go over to Studio. And I'm going to go grab that 3D icon, clapper. And just place it up like so. And maybe center it, and to highlight the the word videos, and to add some more a dynamic feel in terms of having like an icon or an image instead of just having text. It's nice to add things like this or emojis, to really emphasize things and make it look a lot better. So we just want to basically drag the audio track again up to the top so we can see the waveform a bit better, and just zoom in like so and bring it up like that. Okay. So if I just preview this, we'll just see again what we've done from the start in creating this teaser style video. Cool. So with this icon, basically you can see that you want to make it kind of clap along like this, okay? But with this icon, the clap kind of starts a little bit late. So what we want to do is kind of create a custom animation, I guess. And what I'm going to do is basically go to animations and go to opacity and basically make it really short, okay? So maybe something like this. Okay, so we just want it to kind of fade in just at after one frame, basically, at about this point here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is set it, this is at 100%. So what I'm going to do is bring it to the start and make it 0% opacity, like so. And again, we just want to bring this over so that it kind of claps at that beat, okay? So just as it's coming on like this, okay? So it's a little bit of a, I don't know, a little bit of a fiddly kind of trick you can do, but yeah, we could just kind of create it like this. It's got 0% opacity, it comes on, and then it kind of clicks in place with that beat. So I'm just going to move it over a little bit longer like that. And let's just preview that. Like so, okay? So that's how I did that with this icon. But yeah, if you've got an icon that's like an MP4 video, you could just kind of cut it. But yeah, with these ones, it worked in that kind of way. So yeah, this is what I've created so far. Cool. So yeah, go ahead and try out these little tricks and continue building your video, and then go to the next video, and I'm going to continue creating the Stomp teaser video with you. Alright, so now we're into part 4 of creating the Stomp teaser video. Let's just preview again what we're creating. Cool, so what we're going to do in this video is this part here. So again, it's the same kind of technique, but it's good to practice. So with the best, and you can see we've got this pop here, and then we've got a nice slide animation with a cool little emoji, okay? So let's go ahead and continue creating this. So right now I basically went and I updated the text font. I made it semi-bold instead of regular. I think it looks a lot better and stands out a lot more. So we've got this going on here. We make videos, and then it comes up to this part, and then we've got this beat over here, as you can see on the timeline. So I'm just going to go through and zoom in using this zoom bar over here, and just drag this out so that it ends when this beat really kind of pops about here. I might zoom in a bit closer so I can see a bit better. So about this point here, we can just remove that background as well as that video, okay? Now one thing you could do as well, which might make things a lot more compact on your timeline, and I think it's a great idea, is to basically select everything on your timeline except for your audio track. So I'm just using the shift button on my keyboard and just simply selecting everything by left clicking on it like this. And then what you want to do, if I go across a little bit more, again select that, is right click on it and then go create group. Okay, cool. So now I've got this group. We've basically got all the elements except for hello. I kind of missed that one out, but all the elements in this group here, and it just makes things way more compact on your timeline. What you could also do is basically click on this icon and also this one, and I'm also going to lock these layers as well, and then simply click on this hide marked tracks. Okay, and now what we have is we've still got the video over here, but they're basically hidden on the timeline, so that as we create more layers, it just makes it easier, so we don't have to you know, go up and down and have so many layers actually visible on our timeline. Okay, so now that we're up to this point here, we can continue building our video. So what I'm going to do is add that text layer, and I'm going to change the color. So simply selecting this again, and let's go over to blue, and I'm also going to grab that kind of pink purple type color. Let's have a look at that. That was quite nice, so I'm quite happy with that. So what I'm going to do is just double click on that and change that to width. And I might make the font size a little bit bigger, maybe something like this. Let's just bring it over so we can see it more centered. So we've got width, and then over here you'll be able to see, if I zoom in a bit better, a bit closer, we've got two separate beats here. So we've got one quick one, and then this one kind of like lasts a little bit longer. So what we're going to do is create two different text layers by duplicating it using Command D or Control D, and I'm just going to duplicate them again, and this one I'm going to drag it out like this. It's just a really quick one, so it goes over like this. Let's just go a bit closer, and I'll make it a little bit longer. Okay, like that. So this one we're going to type in the, and I might make this color a little bit lighter, so let's go with, yeah, like a blue and green. It's nice to have different colors just to mix it up and add a little bit more variation to it. So it goes with the, and then this is going to say best. And with this one I'm going to make it a lot bigger, so let's just bring out the font size, maybe something like this. And again, I like that kind of blue and green color, so I'm going to add this like so. Okay, that's good. So it goes with the best, like that, and you can see it pops if I just play this through. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is go with the best and then go to style. So I'm just going to duplicate that, Command D, and with this as well, what we're going to do is basically go and change the color to make this one a white. So I'm going to go to fill and make it white, and I'm going to make a background, so I'm going to go to rectangle and scale this up, and I'm going to make this color, let's just have a look actually what we did on the video. So it goes with the best, okay, so like a purple and a pink color style, and let's just drag this across, drag style up to the top, and let's change the background color and make it that purple and pink. So oops, I just select that rectangle, and let's go with pink and kind of a purple color. Okay, something like that. And again, you can, you know, drag these circular dots. If you zoom in, it's a lot easier to select it and then just bring it across like that. And if you hold down the space bar on your keyboard, you can click and drag and move the canvas around, okay? Which makes things quite easy, like so. So I'm just going to go drag this out so that it finishes after this beat where we're going to have the emoji with the sunglasses on. So let's again zoom in over here and bring this over like that. And for this style text, we're going to make it slide in from the right or the left, depending on how you're watching this. So I'm going to click on the style, go to motion, and go to in, and let's say slide left. So let's go and select that one, and I'll drag this so that it ends when this kind of ends. And with this again, I'm going to go and place the indicator at the start of the animation, and I'm going to click on the settings with the animation selected and remove the fade, and I'm going to start the text on the screen maybe about here so that it doesn't slide too much and you can see it the whole time, okay, like that. So let's preview that, what we've done so far. Okay, cool. So at that beat, we're going to have that emoji with the sunglasses come on. So let's go over to emoji and classic and get this little cool dude and scale him up. And I'm going to center him on the canvas like so. Okay, so if I zoom in again and let's just grab this, I'm going to grab the audio track, drag it to the top so I can see the waveform a lot better, and I'll drag this to end at this beat here and also the background color. Okay, so we basically have this sliding across, and to illustrate style with a fun kind of way, we added an animated emoji with sunglasses on. So let's preview what we've done so far in this video. If I go straight to the start and play this back. Cool. So go ahead and continue creating this section and then head on to the next video and we'll continue creating our teaser style video inside CreateStudio. Alright, so in this video we're going to kind of complete the Tomp's teaser video, so it might be a little bit longer, but let me show you what we've done so far. So if we go back to the start, cool, so we've basically done up to here, but what I've done is just gone ahead and quickly done this part here just because it's the same kind of technique that I've been showing you in the past few videos, so just copy along and do the same thing. And then what I want to show you is how to create these masks videos over here, like so, and how to pop them on, yeah, like so. Okay, so if we just go through, I'll show you quickly on the timeline over here, this part here. So basically, again, it's just simply matching up your text with the beat. Over here we've got two little beats, and so it's kind of quick. So it says take a look, and then I just added an emoji from the emoji library with those eyes. So if I just go across a bit better, okay, so this one goes for kind of two beats. So it goes from this beat and it stays on for another beat, and then we switch over to those video previews. So what I'm going to do is just add a background. So let's go to rectangle and I'm going to scale it up and just position it like so. And what I'm going to do is add that blue-green type gradient. Let's have a look. Something like this, I guess. Okay, yeah, so kind of play around with it, I guess. Maybe I'll change that green to make it more precise. Something like that looks alright. So let's go and just double click on that, type in background, and I'm going to drag this audio track up above like so. So we've got our background, and this comes on straight after these eyes like that on that beat. And at the same time with this background we've got a video that pops up. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and select this rounded rectangle here, just add it onto the canvas. What I did was I basically just made it vertical if I wanted to have a vertical video like that, but if you want just a normal video like this, you could do that. Let's just make it a bit of a variation. Okay, and what I'm going to do with this one is call this one middle, for example, so we know that's the middle video. And again, I'll just drag that like so, and that's looking good. So to go ahead and basically mask a video, all you have to do is go grab a video. So let's go and grab one actually over, maybe over here. So let's go and grab, maybe we can use this one here. Cool, so I've got this video, and I'll just simply drag and drop onto the canvas, and I'll resize it. And because it's got audio, I'm gonna just mute that audio over here, and I'll just drag it down like so. Okay, so what we're gonna do is mask this video with that shape. So basically overlay the video on that shape. So I'm gonna just right click on the video and go mask with and middle. Okay, so now we've got this video. I might go through and actually make the video a little bit smaller, so let's just drag it down like that. Cool. So once you're happy with the video and the placement, a good thing to do is to lock your mask. Okay, and this basically keeps that mask in the exact shape, so when you're moving things around it won't move. And then when you're happy with the video as well, a good thing to do is just simply lock that video, okay, like that. Let's just call this one middle video. Okay, cool. So we've got our video that pops on like so. Let's have a look at this. Okay, and at this beat here, we want to go through and add another video. So what I'm going to do is, let's just preview that one more time. Okay, this beat here. So what I'm going to do is just create another mask. I could go through and create a square one, or I could create, any kind of shape you like. You can go through and create masks. So let's say, maybe we'll go with just that CreateStudio logo one, which looks pretty cool. Just making a bit of variation. In the actual real video, I had, I think, a square one and also one of these shapes and a vertical one. So yeah, let's just use a shape for this example. And I'll go grab another video. Let's have a look. Okay, let's grab this one. Cool. So I'm going to just drag and drop this one onto the canvas and resize it like this. And what I'm going to do is just simply right click on it, mask with, and mask with shape. Cool. So you can see we've got this video playing in the background. So again, what you could do is just lock that mask and you could resize that shape or that video like that. Okay, and let's just preview this. I'll just turn off that audio track and play this through. So again, the same thing applies. You just simply go through and create another shape, and yeah, the mask, you can mask it if you want to do that video effect. And then when it comes over here, after this part here, basically those videos just cut off, and then we've got this text again that just pops in that same like this. So what I'm going to do is just do this effect. So cool. So about this beat here, I'm just going to go through and actually I'll just basically unlock this video, the main video, and I'll zoom out. And I'll just drag this over, okay, so that it ends at this beat here. Okay, maybe about there. So that one will end there. This one there. So yeah, we've got our two videos. So this one, then it will say need an epic video. Okay, so I'm going to go through and add some text. Click on the text tool, just type in need, and I'm going to make that a orange type gradient. Maybe we'll grab this color here and something like that. Okay, cool. So again, this one is kind of the same kind of principle, but we're going to stay on for those 4 beats. So this one will basically go on a line like this. So this one stays, and then there'll be another text saying an epic video, okay, to about this point. So I'm just going to duplicate this, and I'm just going to zoom in a bit better and bring it over like so, and just type in "and" like this. I duplicate that again, and you can see that these layers are all going to end at the same time because we want the whole sentence to be on the screen, and then kind of go off. So again, I'll just drag this out and I'll bring this up to the top. Whoops, let's just zoom out of it. Okay, over here, so zoom back in. So need an epic, and then I'm gonna go through and just duplicate that and drag that out. So yeah, so this one here, I'm just gonna select it and just drag it across and type epic. And then I'm going to go over here and select this one and just type in video. Cool, so what we're going to do is basically position them so that in this same row it looks good on the screen like this. And I might go through and just select them all, just holding down shift. Oh, whoops, so shift, 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 and shift, and then just simply scale them all down a bit like that and position them in the middle like that. So now we should see yeah, nice kind of transition with this text if I just preview this. Okay, cool. So that's the the basic technique of creating a stomp style video. Having nice gradients, basically matching up the text with the audio beat. On the next slide you can see I've got a colored background with the text with a gradient on it, okay? Like that, and then it goes back to white. And then we just got a logo animation and the logo coming on. And those animations are basically the motion preset one with the rotation. So yeah, I kind of want to stop the series about here because I think based on the other 4 videos, you kind of understand by now how it all works with the stomp technique. The best thing to do to learn this style is to practice it. So go ahead and, if you haven't already, go back and watch the videos and just basically go ahead and create them with me step by step. If you have any trouble, just go back to the video and watch it again. But basically what you're doing is just matching up the text with the beat. You want to have your audio track on the top, so it's good to go and drag it up. To make things easy and quick, you want to duplicate layers by using Command D or Control D, and then just simply syncing them up with the beat. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this mini series and you've learnt a cool technique. Try it yourself. Try and use a different message based on the product that you're promoting or the service you're promoting. Try different colors. You can even add, instead of having a background gradient, you could have just an image. So you could have an image or even a video that plays for the duration of however long that shape would be, and that kind of makes things a lot more dynamic as well. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. If you've liked it, make sure to add a like to this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and enjoy making amazing videos inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to animate a character in and out of a letter inside CreateStudio. Let's have a quick preview. Great, so as you can see, the character pops out of this O and it looks really good. It's really eye-catching, and this works really well with O's or D's or letters where there's basically a gap where you could basically make the character go in and out. Okay, so to do this, you basically want to add your text layers, and you can see I've created a nice text animation here using the custom animations and basically animating the scale to bring it up like this, and then also the letter spacing to make it close in like that. And there's a tutorial in the 2-minute tips playlist which shows you how to do that. So let me go and show you how to add this character inside this O. Okay, so let's go and delete this. And what I'm going to do is go to the studio panel, and I'm going to grab this character and just drop her over here. And I'm going to go and select waving for this one. Okay, so we've got her that's going to basically come in and wave through that gap. So what I want to do is kind of scale her down and make her a decent size for that O. I'm also going to rotate her so that she kind of comes in on an angle. So it comes through like that and she starts waving, okay? So what we're going to do now is find out whereabouts we want to add her. So the text kind of stops animating about here, so I'm going to bring her to start in about this point. And then what I want to do is grab the rectangle tool. So grab the rounded rectangle one, this one here. You can also create your own kind of custom shapes if you use Adobe Illustrator, and bring in like a SVG file so you can make it exactly the shape you like. But let's go and use this one for now. So what I'm going to do is just hide Michelle over here on the timeline, and so I can see the shape a bit better. I'm just going to zoom in a bit better, and maybe you could change the color, make it something different so you can see the shape. And what we want to do is basically match up the shape so that it kind of curves around at this point here. So I'm going to go to advanced settings, and I'm going to make the radius about, let's say about 1.3. Let's have a look at that. Okay, and what I want to do also is just zoom in out a bit more and just also scale this up a little bit, like that, so that she has space to do her wave. Maybe we could just drag it out a little like so. Okay, so now we have basically a position that we want our character to appear in, and outside of this position she's going to be masked so that you don't see her until she goes through this into the shape space. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to basically right click on the character. I'll just turn her on over here so you can see her. And I'm going to right click on her and go mask with shape. Cool. So as you can see now we've got her and she's inside the shape. I could just kind of position her, maybe make her a little bit smaller so she fits better inside this. And what I'm going to do as well is just mask the shape, lock the shape so that now I won't move the shape out of place because I've got the mask in the right place. And again, I'm going to make her a little bit smaller. You can adjust the mask obviously and make the mask a bit bigger if you like, so maybe we could do that actually. Just select the mask and drag it up a little bit like so. You can zoom in and just make sure that the mask is the right kind of size and position for you, like this. Okay, and that's looking pretty good, so I'm pretty happy with that. So now what we're going to do is create some animation so that she pops in and out. So to do that, we've got her now like just waving like this, but we want her to come in and out. So what we want to do is add a custom position animation. So just drop her down and click on animations on the plus icon and click on position, and then just maybe drag it out so it's about 1 second long or so. And what we want to do now that we've got her in this position, she's at the end of the animation, she's here, that's looking good. What we want to do is just basically move the time indicator to the start and then just basically move her down. So we're going to lock the shape layer mask again and just bring her down maybe like so that she slides in like that. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. Maybe I'll drag it out a little bit more like that so it goes like this. And what we can then do is right click on that and then duplicate reverse, and so that we create the same animation that she goes, now she slides back down like that. Okay, and you can adjust like the easing. Let's say we just want the easing to be at the start, we can do that and just drag this out like so. And let's just preview what we've created so far. Cool, so that's how you go through and create that nice effect. Maybe I'd move her down a little bit more so that she's completely out of the O like that. And we've got a really nice looking character kind of animation that you could add to your text, to your logo, to really make it look a lot better and a really engaging effect that you can do for your video. So have a go with that. Make sure to add a like to the video if you enjoyed it and leave a comment below. And yeah, have fun creating. In this video, you're going to learn how to create a text spacing animation as well as add a border to your text. Cool, so to do this, I'm just going to delete this text and just bring the time indicator to the start. And I'm going to click on the text icon to add some text. I'll just scale that up and center it. Now I want to remove this text fill color, so I'm going to click on the color palette over here and just bring the opacity of the fill down to 0 and go back. And then click on advanced to add a border. So you'll see the border options here. I can just go through and add a border, let's say 2. I could then change the color. Let's make a green kind of teal color. And now I've got my text, it looks good. I can go through and create some animations. So on the drop down over here, I'm going to click on animations and I'm going to select text spacing as well as scale. Okay, so let's just drag this out, make it about 1 second long. And what I'm going to do is make the scale down to 0, so I'll just drag this down like that, and you can see we've got this animation that goes on like so. Also at the end of the animation, I want this text to like kind of spread out with the text spacing. So on the letter option over here, I'm going to go and type in something like 200. And you can see now that when we play this through, it kind of zoomed in like that. And then what I want to do is add another animation, so go on to animations and the plus icon and use the text spacing as well. And then just drag this down to about 1 second long, and at the end I'm just going to make the spacing 0. Okay, so let's preview that. Like that. You can also change the easing to create unique looking animations just by, for example, selecting elastic. And if I just drag this out to maybe 2 seconds long, let's just preview that animation. You see we added a nice bounce to the text. So that's how to create a border for your text as well as a text spacing animation. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a color change animation like this. So you can see basically the color is changing as the text is animating, and you can apply this to both text and shape layers. Let's go through and first of all add a text layer. I'm just going to bring it up and center it like so. Maybe I'll change the color quickly to blue so you can see it like that. So to create this animation, you simply click on the drop down menu and click on the plus icon for animations, and then simply select color. Now if you go out of here and you want to go back into the animation properties, simply select that and go to settings, and you can see you've got the properties again that you can select to animate. And what you want to do is basically set the start color and the end color. So the start color we can stay with blue, and then if I go to the end, I'm going to go through and choose something like maybe a red or an orange, something like that. So you can see it goes now from blue to orange. Okay, so we can duplicate this by clicking on right click, duplicate, reverse, and now we go from orange over here and we can select a different color at the end. So let's go with something like green, or we can go with pink, maybe something like that. And I'll again duplicate, reverse that, and then go to the end and select a different color. So let's go with something like a pink. Okay, what you can also do is add a text effect. If you click on the plus icon and go to something like random characters, and you can drag this up so you've got two effects going at the same time. You've got color change as well as the random characters. So let's just preview that. Cool. So you can have a lot of fun with this and use it on shape layers as well as text to add another dynamic variation to your animations and your effects inside CreateStudio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a screen where you can place a video or an image in the background of any device inside CreateStudio. So the first thing you want to do is grab your device. So I've got an iPad for this one, and you can use a mobile phone or a MacBook or a desktop computer, whatever device you like. Then click on the shape tool and select the rectangle tool, and you basically want to draw out by holding down shift and dragging the corner to draw out your screen size, and then just drag it below the device, and I can call this one screen like so. And then what you want to do is basically grab some media. So I've got a video clip here. I'm going to drag it onto the canvas and just kind of resize it a little bit and just drag it underneath the device and so on top of the screen. And then all I'm going to do is right click on it and go mask with screen. Okay, and now you can see that I've got my video playing inside my iPad screen, and I did it really quickly inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to create a simple lower third animation. So let's just preview this. Okay, cool. So this is really easy to do. What I'm going to do is just basically start from scratch and just delete all this. And I'm just going to keep my video here. I just basically dragged and dropped the video onto the canvas, and I locked it so that it won't move when I'm editing. So let's just center that again and lock it in place. So to do this, it's really simple. You could go and add the shape tool, click on the shape tool here, and click on the rectangle shape. And yeah, what you want to do is basically hold down shift when you scale. If you don't hold down shift, you'll scale according to the ratio, so you can't actually adjust the shape. But if you hold down shift and drag, you can see now I can basically create any shape I want. So let's just go and maybe make it about that kind of size. Okay, and I'm going to call this one white, so just double click on that and type white. And what I'm going to do now is go to motion, and I'm going to go to in, and I'm going to select slide right, and then I'm going to go to out and select slide left. So it comes in like this, and then it goes back out like that. Okay, cool. So that's looking really good. I might just adjust the animation to make it about 1 second long, so it's a bit faster when it comes on. And let's just preview this. Okay, it slides in like that. That looks really good. I'm also going to just right click on these animations and disable the fade. So right click on the animation, disable fade, so that it doesn't fade and it just comes in like so as one 100% opacity basically. And that's looking really good. So now what I'm going to do is simply just duplicate that by using Command D. I think it's Control D if you're on a Windows. And you can see I've got my top layer. I'm going to make this one green, so I'm just going to type in green, and then I'm going to go over and select with the layer selected on top, I'm going to click on the color option over here and just simply change the color. So let's make it maybe something like this, nice green color. And then the next thing I want to do is basically just zoom in a bit closer so I can see it a bit better. And all I'm going to do is just go through and offset it like so. Okay, so it's going to come in like this and then like that. I might make it a little bit less of an offset. So we've got this going like this. So let's just preview this. Cool, that's looking really good. And then what I want to do is basically add some text. So go to the text layer, click on the text layer to add your text, drag it down here, and I'm going to type in my favorite tennis player, like that, and that's looking really good. Okay, so just position that like so, and I'll just drag this over so that when the thing slides in, or the shape slide in, the text will start appearing. So what I want to do now is basically adjust this. So I want to animate this. So with the text layer selected, you can go to motion and go to in, and you can either select fade or you can select slide right. I'm going to go slide right. I think it looks a bit better. And let's have a look at this. So it's coming in like so, and it looks pretty good. You could adjust the, the speed as well. So let's just make something like that, and I'll preview this. Cool, that's looking really good. And as you can see on the way out, we've got this going on. I just need to add the out animation for this one. So let's go to out and go slide left. So it will also slide out like this. And what I'm going to do is just zoom in a bit closer, and I'll click on this arrow here. This basically brings everything up, and if you click it again, it will bring all the layers down again, so you can see all the layers and the animations. So what I'm going to do is just bring this over a little bit, and I'm just going to grab the green layer, and maybe make it a little bit more across like this, so you can see the white coming across, and then the green, and then the text layer. So maybe I'll make the text layer a little bit further off as well, something like that. Cool, so let's just preview what we've created. Cool, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, make sure to add a like on this video and add a comment, and go ahead and create your own lower third animations inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to create a really nice looking motion graphic using the arc shape. So as you can see, we've got some circles just kind of animating in and animating out like that. And you can use these as motion graphics on different slides. Maybe have just one circle over here and over there, and just add some nice style and design to your videos. So let me show you how to do that. So basically you would go through, and I'll just bring it over to the start, and click on the shape tool, and then you'll see this arc shape. Okay, so simply click on that, and it will bring up this arc shape. And this is a really easy to use shortcut that we've created for you to make these kind of animations. So what I would do is basically go through on the animation settings, or the properties of the shape, and I'm going to bring it up to 0. So you can see you can adjust this angle of the shape. So let's just bring it down to 0, and I'm going to drop down the arc animation settings, and simply click on the plus icon to add an animation, and then select arc angle, because we want to animate the angle to create that animation. So I'm going to select arc angle, and you can see that at 0 seconds that the angle is 0 because we set it to 0. So if I go over now to the end of the animation, I want to adjust the property to make it 360 so that it animates in 360 degrees. So simply just drag it across, or you could add 360 in the input, and you can see we've quickly created a really nice looking arc animation. Okay, now you can also right click on this and click on easing, and you can adjust the easing of this animation. So let's say I want to make it both, so that it animates in with an ease and also at the out with an ease, and let's just preview that, and that's looking really cool. And one other thing you can do is basically duplicate this animation so that it animates around and then it animates back out like that. Okay, so to do that, simply right click on it, duplicate reverse, and we have that animation all done and ready. So let's preview that one more time as well. Cool. Great, so now that we've got this created, this first animation, we've basically done our animating, and we can just go through and duplicate layers and create different style, basically animation. So what I'm going to do is just change the color first of all. I want to make it maybe a red color, like so. And you can also adjust the size of this, so let's make it a bit bigger like that. And what I'm going to do is just go through and duplicate it. Okay, so this first one down here, I'm just going to rename it and call it red. This one I'm going to call it green, and then I'll duplicate one more time and call this one blue. Okay, and I'll just collapse these. Okay, and I'm going to select this one, make it a blue color. Let's say something like this. I'll make this one a green color. Let's have a look. I could also go through and just hide that so I can see the element, and let's make this something like green, like this. And you can see we've got our red color. Okay, so we've got all our colors that look really good, and all you need to do is basically, I'm going to zoom into the timeline. I could also just collapse these to see the animations, and I could just go through and just offset them. So I'm just going to drag this off a little bit, drag this off a little bit, and you'll be able to see I've got 3 animations playing inside the same line. So that's a fun way you could do that. If you wanted to see the other shapes on the way out as well, you probably want to just bring this over so that the blue one, or the top one, starts first, and then they animate back out individually like this. So let's play this through. Okay, so that's really cool. And based on the example that I showed you at the start, what you could do as well is just bring down the scale. So let's say I'll make this one 30, and I'll make this one 50, like that, and the other one can be 70, or you can make it a bit bigger if you want more space between there. And you can see quickly we've created this really nice looking animation. You could use this on an Apple Watch, that kind of really nice style, or you could just have separate circles animating on your slides to really create really nice looking motion graphics. So hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed, and yeah, get started creating this animation and trying other types of animations inside CreateStudio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a number counter. Cool. So it's really easy to do. I'm just going to delete this text layer over here and click on the text layer to add a new text layer. If I just bring this up, I'm just going to center it, and once you're happy with the color, with your text font, basically what you want to do is click on the drop down menu over here, and you'll see the option text effects. So simply click on the plus icon to add a text effect, and then on the drop down menu you want to select number counter. Okay, cool. So now what you want to do is basically set the start number and also the ending number. So we're going to go from 5 to 0, and it's going to count down from 5 to 0. So you can have whatever number you like. If you want to do a 60-second countdown timer, you could have 60 and then to 0. And then what you want to do is basically drag this out so that it's the duration of your time. So let's say 5 seconds, you want it to go all the way out like that. And if I click on the spacebar, hit the spacebar, hit play, you can see that we've got my number countdown nicely created like so. So that's how to quickly create a number counter inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to create a really nice looking logo intro inside CreateStudio. Let's just have a quick preview. Cool. So yeah, this was basically created from scratch, and what I want to show you is how to create this kind of animation. It's really actually not too complex, even though it looks quite difficult from the get-go. But let's go ahead, and I'm just going to save this and delete everything. So I'm just going to select everything and hit delete, and I'll remove that track and this like so. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make the first part, I'm going to show you the main techniques, and then I'm going to at the end add some details to make it a bit more complex, but it's pretty simple actually to do. So if you follow along step by step, you'll get the idea of how it works, and you'll be able to replicate these kind of techniques in your own videos. So let's go ahead and first go to the shape tool, and I'm going to go and click on the circle to create a circle. And what I want to first do is actually grab a background image. So I'm going to grab this one that I got from Pixels, and I'll just make it, scale it up like that, and I'm going to double click on it and call it background, and then simply drag it to the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to lock this because I don't want to edit it, I just want to be able to move things around. So for the circle, I'm going to call it 1, and I'm just going to click on this expand tool to bring it up quite big, and I'm just going to use the scale over here and just simply drag it out. So you basically want to make a circle that's covering the whole of your canvas. Okay, so So now I've got my circle, I've got it called it 1. I'm going to click on the center, make sure that it's centered, and that looks good. And now what I can do is simply click on the drop down, and I'm going to create a custom scale animation. Now what you could do if you don't want to do this, you could just go to motion and go to in and go to zoom and go scale up like this, and you've got your animation. And you might want to remove the fade, so click on disable fade and that will remove that, and you maybe want to make it a bit faster by dragging that out like that. Okay, so now I've got this animation. So we could have that, and that works fine as well. I just wanted to kind of show you guys how to use custom animations so you can also play around with these as well. So yeah, with the circle selected, click on the plus icon to add a custom animation. And now what you need to do is basically enable the properties that you want to animate. So for this animation, I want to make it scale up, so I'm going to select on scale, and now I've got my properties selected. I can animate them. Okay, if you don't select anything, even though you have a custom animation down here, it won't add any animation, so you really need to select what you want to animate. And you can animate multiple different properties by selecting multiple properties on here. So we've got scale, which is good. I'm just going to go through and drag it out because I want it to be about 1 second long, about there or so. And now we have the circle as we want it at this point. So with the time indicator at this point, we have the circle at this size, but I want to make the circle start at 0. So I'm just going to drag the time indicator to the start, okay, and then go to settings and simply make it 0, okay, like this. And if I play this, you see we've got our animation like so, and that looks good. And you can play around with the easing, so maybe you want to click on the easing and you want it to maybe have a both easing, so it eases in and eases out. We can see what that looks like. It's a bit slower, but it kind of eases in and then goes faster, and then it slows down a bit. Okay, so now we've created our animation, and it looks pretty good to me. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, looks cool. I'm just going to duplicate it, so I'm just going to click on my keyboard Command D to duplicate, and you can see I've got another layer here, and I'm going to name this one 2, and I'm going to duplicate that one again, and I'll use rename this one 3. Okay, so now I've got 3 layers, and they're all coming in at the same time, so we need to offset them. So I'm just going to drop down this track name and just drag this out a little bit like so. Okay, so maybe it starts about there, and this one starts about there. And we also need to change the colors, so I'm going to select this one and make this one, I'm going to make it a different color, like grey for example, and this one can be my main color, so let's make this one a gradient. I'm going to go with something like a blue and maybe a green, like this. So you can see now that we have 3 circles coming in like this. Okay, and one thing I want to do is basically have an image that overlays on the second circle, and it creates a really cool effect. Okay, so currently it's looking like this. Maybe it's a little bit too much of a delay, so I'm just going to drag this back across a bit, and also this one a bit as well. And let's just preview if that looks good. Okay, maybe a little bit more space. It's all about kind of playing around and seeing what looks good to you. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Cool. So what I want to do now is basically overlay an image on the circle. So I've got this image from Pixels. I'm just going to drag it onto the canvas, and I'm going to click on this button to make it full width like that. And I'm just going to drag it so it's about the same length as this one. And what I'm going to do is simply click on here to bring everything down, and just drag this down like that, and right click on it, and then go mask with 2. Okay. And now what you'll see happen is basically it creates this really cool effect. It's basically overlaying this circle, the image on the circle. It creates this really cool effect, as you can see. So let's play this through. Okay. And now what I want to do, now that I've got that done, I could just go through and maybe make everything a bit longer, maybe about this length and duration, like so. So let's preview this again. That's looking really cool. And now I want a circle to basically pop out at me, and yeah, kind of come in, that it can be my placeholder for my logo. So I'm going to go onto the shape tool, click on circle, and I've got my nice circle. I'll make sure it's centered over here. And you could create a custom animation, or you could just do the easy way by clicking on motion and going to zoom and go elastic scale up. Let's go grab that one. Whereabouts is it? Elastic scale up, this one here. And I'm going to remove the fade, so right click disable fade. And so let's have a look at this one. So it's coming about here, this one comes in. I want to have a bit of a delay, so the circles come in and then it pops out like that, okay? So I've got that, it's looking good. And I'm going to grab my logo, so you can import your own logo by clicking on import media and then selecting one from your computer. I'm going to drag the logo to the canvas and basically place it inside the circle. And you can make it smaller or bigger, however you think looks good on in your own kind of view. So I've got my logo lined up as well. I'm just going to add the same animation, so select that, go to motion and elastic scale up. Okay, I've got the same animation, and if I preview this now, we can see what we've created so far. Cool. So then maybe that's coming in a bit fast. I'm just going to drag this out again a little bit more so we have more of a delay, and we'll just preview this again. Okay, so maybe a little bit too more delayed. I'm going to go zoom in a bit and just again bring it out a bit like so, and let's preview this. Cool. So it's basically like a zooming effect. Like all these circles are zooming in, and then all of a sudden one circle pops and it basically has your logo. Okay. So there's my logo reveal. Now after this time, we want to basically go through and make the logo come down, and then have our logo text behind here. Okay. So again, to do this, you could just simply go to motion and go to slide and backslide bottom. Whoops, on out to make sure select out, and then backslide bottom, I think it is. Yep. And select that one, and again the same one, go to out and backslide bottom like that. And I might drag it out a little bit longer so that it has a bit more time on there. So it comes in like this. We've got the logo, and it goes up and down. And you might want to make it a bit faster just by dragging that out like this. And once that comes down, we want the text behind here to kind of appear, so it looks like it's hiding behind here. It's kind of a little subtle cool effect, but I could just simply add text and go CreateStudio, and I'm just going to place it around there. And what I need to do is basically place it behind the circle, so just drag it down on your timeline so that it's behind all these, the logo and the circle placeholder. I'm just going to make sure it's centered like that, and you could just go and hide these to see it if you want. But yeah, so about this point we want it to start appearing, or maybe at about this point when it starts to drop down, and then all of a sudden it reveals like that. And then what we could also do is just duplicate that one and have your logo name, so let's call this one your website name, sorry, so it's CreateStudio.com. And I might change this text font and make it something like Poppins, or something like that. And I'll just zoom in a bit and make it smaller, place it below. And then also I want to have a motion, just use a fade in effect for this one. Okay, so let's go to fade in, and I want it to start a bit later, so maybe about this point here. Let's just preview that. Cool. So that's looking really good, and what we could then do is just basically have like an audio track playing on top. So I'm going to try this one. This one's from the audio library of tracks over here. If you go to audio, if you've upgraded to have the audio library, you can access them from the logo idents. And then if I play this through, okay, and that's looking super cool. What we could also do, I'm pretty pleased with this one. I could just like render this as it is, but if you want to add some more details, you could add some shapes. So if you go to Studio, and if you go to Shapes down here, we've got some really nice animated shapes that you can just use. So I'm going to grab one like this, for example, just go across, maybe put it like so, and then I could just simply duplicate this one, and I'll bring it down here, maybe make it a little bit smaller, and I'll make this color white like so. And this one I'm going to go and add a border. So I'm going to click on that, go to advanced, and then give it a border maybe like 4. And I'll go back to settings, and for the color I'm going to make the opacity of this shape, or the fill of the shape, 0%. If you want to keep the border, make sure not to adjust the overall opacity, otherwise you won't be able to see the border. Just want to go through to color and remove the fill opacity there, okay? And you could go through and select, for example, a circle as well. Maybe bring it out like this, bring it down and resize it, and add like different shapes that you like on here to add some extra detail. So I can make this one white again, and then duplicate this one and maybe bring it over here, remove that color as well, and then go to advanced, border, make it 3 or maybe 6 for example, and maybe make it a little bit smaller like that, okay? And then what you want to do is maybe zoom in a bit closer and kind of make them start at different times. Just kind of drag them out like this, have a bit of variety with this, and let's just preview this. Cool. So that's how you can go through and create a really nice intro animation pretty quickly, as you could see. The main parts were you want to just create a circle with a zoom animation, and then duplicate it 3 times and offset it so that they start at different times, and obviously create different colors. With the second one, we overlaid an image using the mask option, and then we basically created another circle that bounced in with our logo bouncing in as well. And then brought it down like that. So the best thing to do is to try this out yourself. So go ahead and try and replicate these steps step by step, and once you get it, you'll have a better idea of how everything works, and so the next time you create it will be a lot easier, and then obviously moving forward you'll get better and better at animating, and things will get a lot quicker and easier because you understand how they all function, okay? So if you enjoyed this, make sure to add a like on this video and leave a comment below, and yeah, have fun animating. In the latest update inside CreateStudio, we've added some amazing new improvements as well as feature updates, and the first one is our text effects. So you would have seen the first effect inside the intro video with the typewriter. We've also added in a number counter effect as well as a random character effect, and I'll show you how they work in just a sec. And in the coming weeks and months, we're going to be adding in a whole bunch of extra text effects for you. Now we now also support right to left text, so if you have an Arabic language, you want to create a video in an Arabic language or a language that works from right to left, you can basically select your text and click on the settings panel and make sure to select right to left at the bottom of the settings to have your text go from right to left. Now I've also made a massive improvement in terms of the speed of our rendering, so now your videos will render 4 to 5 times faster. And along the same lines of rendering, we've also enabled the ability to export your videos with alpha transparency. So you can basically select an element or your video, render it with the alpha transparency, and you can also render it in MOV or WebM format so that you can bring those elements into other video editors and basically use them in your videos. And another cool update we're just adding in is we're adding in 100 animated icons into Studio Builder. So in the icons category, you'll see these flat icons that have been custom created in the same style as the Supreme animated characters. So you can use these to give you a lot more variety in terms of creating your explainer videos. So let's go into the software, and I'm going to show you how to use some of the features and how they work inside CreateStudio. Alright, so let me show you inside CreateStudio and how to add the text effects as well as the right to left text option, and also how to publish your videos with alpha transparency. So if you add a text layer just by clicking on the text layer over here, you can add your text, and I've just added some random text over here. And when you click on the drop down, you'll see another row which says text effects, okay? So you can still add animations to your text, and you can also add text effects. If I click on the plus icon, and if I go and select typewriter, you'll be able to see now that the text basically types on like so. And as you can see, that's a little bit fast, so what I'm going to do is just drag this out, and let's say I'll make it about 2 seconds long. You can see it's a much better pace for that amount of text. You'll also see that it basically animates from the right to the left. So if I go through and click on the rotation point and then select the left point over here, you'll be able to see now that the text animates from the left in just one kind of fluid motion, just like you would type in a form, like a text form. Okay, so this is how to add the typewriter effect. I'm just going to delete this text and add a new text layer. And what I'm going to do is click on the text and go to text effects and go to number counter. Okay, now this one works like so. So if you select your text, go to the text settings, you can basically put a starting property, so let's say 0, or if you want to start maybe at 50 for example, and then you can select the end value, so let's say 24,765. Okay, so a massive number. I'm going to go through and just make it a little bit longer, maybe 3 seconds, and let's just preview this. So you can see it basically counts up to the exact number that you select. Okay, so you can go through obviously and change up the text fonts. You could use, really nice style like BBAS, and you can see it animates like so. Okay, so you can really use these in a lot of different ways. You could add like an arc animation and then have the percentage like 74 and then add the percentage label like so, and that's how you use the number counter effect. So let me show you also how to use the random character one. So if you add a text layer again, and for this text layer, let's just say this is cool, like so. Okay, and I'll just bring it up and I'll center that. Let's go to the start, like so. And what I'm going to do is just click on the drop down again, go to text effects and select random characters. Okay, so this basically animates in a way that, if I just preview this so you can see it, it has random characters appearing until it comes to your final text that you have set. Okay, so what you can do also is basically use different characters. So if you don't want to have alphabets like this, you could have your own characters. So you could use like special characters like this, for example. And basically these are the characters that will appear before your final text appears. So let's just go through like this, like that. Okay, you could also just use numbers, for example, if you want to just play around with numbers or things like that. So let's just play it like this. Okay, and you can be creative and create cool effects like that. So that's how you use the text effects. Also on the text settings options over here on the text panel, you can see that we've got the option to select right to left. So if I select on for this, you'll be able to see that the text, if I go through and just type something in, let's say for example hello, you can see that the text goes from right to left. So you've got the HELLO from right to left. Okay, now also what you can do is export your videos with alpha transparency. So if you have like an animated icon or something you want it to, or a call to action button or things like that, you could basically go to publish, and over here you can select WebM with transparency or MOV with transparency, and it'll basically export your video without the background image or the background color. Okay, so make sure if you're going to use that option that you don't have a background image or you don't have a background shape that you've selected. You just want to have, you could have a background color like this and it won't export that background color, it would just have a transparent background. So those are the main updates inside CreateStudio, as well as the faster rendering you're going to see when you render your videos. We've also added in some extra updates which you'll be able to see in the updates panel inside your CreateStudio account. And things like, for example, the text to speech, we've also added the options now to add pauses to your text. So you can simply add the pause and equals to the amount of seconds based on the number that you specify. So I hope you enjoyed this update. If you like it, let us know in the comments below and add a like to this video. And yeah, we look forward to making amazing new improvements and new features in the coming weeks and months as we continue building our CreateStudio. Hey, it's Josh here from CreateStudio, and I'm really excited to share with you what's new in our latest release inside CreateStudio. So the first thing we've built is GIF support. So now you can import your own GIFs and basically add them to the canvas and the timeline and adjust the duration as long as you like. and the GIF will play on a seamless loop for as long as your track is on the timeline. You can now also duplicate projects, so simply click on the duplicate icon, which is next to the trash icon, and you can create a copy of your existing project. You can also now save projects as presets, and this is really going to speed up your workflow by simply selecting your project and making it into a preset. You can then import that exact project into other projects to really quickly use certain elements that you want to use in other projects by importing them as a preset. You can also now copy and paste motion presets. So instead of selecting a layer separately and then adding a preset and adding the same preset over and over again to different layers, what you can do is just add a preset to a layer and then use Command C or Control C if you're on a Windows to copy that preset. Then you can select each layer and basically use Command V or Control V and paste that exact motion preset onto your layer to really speed up your animating. We've also made a really exciting update, and that is a new media library which is next to the shape icon. You'll see a little image icon. Click on that and you've got things like devices, icons, illustrations, SVG objects, as well as real objects which look really good with 3D characters. And one of the exciting ones is our isometric scene builder. So you can basically drag and drop isometric objects and animate them really quickly to create really unique looking isometric scenes and videos inside CreateStudio, as well as different types of illustration packs. You can add Apple devices as well as SVG scene objects which you can change the colors and make really nice looking explainer styled backgrounds and elements that you can add onto your videos. And we've also added in some extra keyboard shortcuts, like things like Command 0, which will basically fit the canvas to the screen, as well as ones like Command Shift C, which will create a group really quickly using the selected layers. And you'll find out other keyboard shortcuts below this video on this post. So let's switch over to the app and I'll show you some of these updates inside the software. Alright, so I've just imported a GIF just to show you this. So I'll just drag and drop this on the canvas. And you can see, if I just zoom out a little bit more, that you can go through and drag this as long as you like and it'll play the GIF on a continual loop like that. Cool. So we've also got the option to save your projects as presets. So let's say, for example, you wanted to maybe just use this GIF and you wanted to save it as a preset, or if you had different kind of animated objects that you wanted to save and add them onto different elements, you could basically go onto the project settings, which are over here, and you'll see the option to make this a preset. So if you select yes and click on save, you can see I've saved it as funny GIF. Now what I can do, if I just delete this, and if I created a new project, I could go to my import preset and click on select preset, and you can see I've got funny GIF now. So if I add this, you can see it quickly adds that onto my project. So this is also helpful, for example, if you've got logos or different elements that you want to use globally on your projects. You could just add your logo and save it, and you can quickly add it onto your project as well. Great. So also we've got this option over here to see a media library. So we've got different things like devices. You could add a nice device onto your scene. We've got a whole bunch of icons and different styles you can see there as well. Also illustrations. So let me just show you a few like this. We've also got an isometric scene builder. So let's go through and add some of these objects. So I'm just going to grab an airplane. Let's add this building, this skyscraper, and let's have a look at what else should we add. Maybe we could add maybe this truck and a tree, as well as maybe this building here as well. Cool. So what you could do is just position these as you like, resize them, kind of play around with it and make your unique scene. So make this a little bit smaller, maybe places like that. And what we could do is I'm just going to position this plane off the screen like so, and I'm going to rename this one. I'll just call this one plane. And what I'm going to do is create an animation. So if I click on the plus icon over here and select position to animate the position, I've got my position here and the indicator is at this point. So I'm going to move the indicator over here, and I'm going to move the position of this plane, or maybe place it down over here, something like about there. And also I'm going to adjust the duration, maybe make it about 2 seconds long. And the last thing I want to do is adjust the easing. So instead of having it kind of go slower than fast, what I'm going to do is select both so that it continually goes the same speed. And I'm also going to select linear so that it just goes one fluid speed across. So it doesn't look like it's speeding up or slowing down, it's just going one separate speed. So let's also put this at the top so that it plays over top of everything, and click on play. So you got a really nice looking animation. So what we could also do to make this look even more realistic is go to advanced, and you'll see we've got a shadow over here. So we could go through and let's add a shadow maybe about 500, and I'll maybe offset it back a little bit, and also add a little bit of a blur. And I'm just going to adjust the opacity and make it a little bit lower, so it's just kind of subtle, but it adds another nice effect to this animation. So let's just preview this. So this, yeah, how you can quickly create really nice looking scenes and using isometric objects. We've also got things like real objects. Let's go over here to real objects, and these are perfect for 3D characters. So let's go through, maybe we want to grab, let's go grab a whiteboard, and yeah, just import that in here. Depending on the size of the element, it will take, slower or faster in terms of importing, because we download these from the cloud. So yeah, so there's a nice whiteboard. What I could do is go to Studio, go to Characters, and I'm going to go grab Sally and just drag her over here. And you can see that these real objects really do look good with 3D characters. So I'm going to select her and go to Action and go to Point Left. And let's go to, maybe Add Action and maybe Thumbs Up. And what we could do is add some text. Let's go to Text Layer, and I'll make this text black. And I'll just position it up like that, okay? So if I just preview this, that's looking really, really cool. Yeah, and you can really build out your scenes. We're going to be adding in a whole bunch of other 3D objects as well, for you. So those are the real objects. We've also got things like scene objects as well as SVGs. So these look really good for explainer videos. So you've got these really nice looking designs. Some of the layers have multiple layers, some of these SVGs. So this one's got like 2 layers, and you can adjust the colors of these objects as well. So really build out really nice looking designed scenes. So those are the main updates inside CreateStudio. We've also got the keyboard shortcuts. So let's say, for example, you want to center and kind of fit this canvas like to your screen. What you can do is use Control or Command 0, and you can see it instantly snaps this canvas to a nice looking size. We've got things also like Command Shift C. So if I select multiple elements like this and go Command Shift C, you can see it creates it into a group of elements, and you can just double click on those groups to go into the group. And some other keyboard shortcuts that you're about to see below this post. So I hope you've enjoyed this update. If you have, make sure to leave a comment below, and also if you could leave us a nice review, that would really be helpful for our company. And yeah, we're working on some really amazing new updates for our next release. So I hope you've enjoyed it. For now, try it out, and yeah, have fun creating.
You, your customers, your grandma, even your goldfish love to watch videos. Watching is easy, but making videos, well, that's another story. We're talking designs, keyframing, character rigging, compositions, pre-compositions. I mean, how come there isn't an easier way?
Yeah, how come there isn't an easier way?
Hey, Cameron. Don't bother asking Google. Google doesn't care. Use CreateStudio.
What's that?
CreateStudio. It's really easy to use video animation software that's gonna save you hours of time. And it'll make you look like a video expert, just like Chad.
Yeah, don't tell anyone, but I actually suck at animating. But this makes me look like a damn guru. I can remove green screens, add intros, overlays, and call to actions. That brings viewers closer to that sweet subscribe button. Speaking of which, don't forget to smash that bell.
Cool, and what else can it create?
Well, anything you put your mind to.
Okay.
And I mean everything. Explainer videos, video ads, mobile stories, logo intros.
So it does it all?
Exactly. And you can do it all by simply dragging and dropping elements. Here, let me show you. Just create a project, import your own media, add text.
And images?
Yeah, even gorgeous little animated characters that help you explain complex ideas in a fun and engaging way. Ooh. And what I really love is that adding animation takes just a click. Going pro has never been so
Simple.
right. CreateStudio lets you get straight to the creating with beautiful designs, preset motions, customizable characters right at your fingertips.
Make better videos faster